And welcome to our volleyball podcast with Coach Michael King, and it's brought to you by Cheney Federal Credit Union, serving their members' financial needs since 1951. Coach, outstanding win on Saturday against Northern Colorado. You were able to snap an 8-match losing streak. What went different for you in that match than maybe some of the previous matches?
Well, first of all, our seniors really, stepped up, and they hit, both our seniors, both Kelsey and Talia, both hit over 500, for the match, and just their leadership overall of being determined not to lose. We've been in this situation before where we've been right there on the edge of winning the match, and we've had that letdown. This match, they kind of stood their ground and said, it's not going to happen again. Let's change what we do. Let's change how we roll. And basically, it's not a want for us. It's a decision. They made a decision that tonight's going to be the night where we set a new standard for ourselves. It's
difficult to learn how to win, isn't it? Especially when your program maybe hasn't had a lot of success in the recent years.
Yeah, and that's something that we talk about every single day, and I really believe wholeheartedly that this team is very special. We've got great team chemistry that's developing every single day, and right now, getting that mindset of what we do matters on every play, every day, the way we think, the way we have our self-talk, the way that we move forward after a mistake, and not dwelling on that mistake, but this next play, changing the attitude and changing the mindset. It's been a challenge. It's been a fun challenge. I think the team is certainly embracing that challenge and embracing being, uncomfortable, because in order for us to grow, we have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah, that's one thing that you mentioned to me earlier in one of our audio podcasts, was that this team, you talked about the team chemistry. This is a very close team, and that's been impressive, especially through the losing streak you went through, that the team was able to retain that closeness and didn't turn into a bunch of infighting.
Yeah, it's that's kind of where we're at. We'll play really well for a set, then maybe not play well for another set, and it's kind of where we're at right now. And I really believe we made that change. I think we've made that jump, and I think that self-belief of every day we're competing has grown in their mindset, and I think that the leadership of the seniors has just been tremendous, and we've got some great juniors that have been some solid role players that are just getting better. If you're looking at their stats, it's like they're slowly increasing, they're slowly getting better, they're slowly getting more confident in their role and also in their position, and I think the communication between teammate to teammate is getting better, and they're hanging out with each other more on their own because they want to, not because they have to.
It had only been maybe 3 weeks between victories, but it had to have seemed like 3 months.
It did, and we had moments, and during those moments and during those opportunities, we didn't necessarily have the success that we wanted with the W. However, we had other smaller successes that we definitely celebrated and definitely acknowledged, certain people's performances in certain times, but it's there.
Was there a turning point in the Northern Colorado match?
I think the turning point really was when we went from, hey, we want this match, to making a decision that we're going to put everything we've got into it, because we can all want things, but we have to make a decision, and then as soon as we make that decision, then we made that commitment to everything that we do is based off this decision that we've made. And I think the turning point for us was we had some really critical blocks from Allie and also from Kellen in that fifth set that really kind of established that momentum shift for us, and then we answered back with some really good offensive plays, and that self-belief really was the big turning point for us. As a volleyball novice, I would think getting blocked at the net is probably the biggest. It's a downer, I guess, for the team that makes the swing. I mean, if you can block them at the net, that kind of gives you the feeling of superiority, doesn't it? Oh yeah, especially with our sport, it's all about momentum, and if that block occurs early in the match, it's not as it's not as a big deal as it maybe it is towards the end of the match, and making those key plays at the end. And that's what we did, is that we made big plays when it counted at the end. And I give a lot of credit to Northern Colorado, who did just a great job of making adjustments to us. And they were like, hey, you know what? We got to keep on these players. We have to do these things to attack us. We answered back, I thought really well with making adjustments on our own. And I just give our players credit for making those adjustments. We talked about them in the timeouts. Then they went out and then they executed it. So I give a lot of a lot of credit to our players to be able to listen, then adapt and make those changes.
All right, 1-1 in league play, and you finally get a home weekend with students on campus. Should be a fun time at Reese Court this week. It's actually Thursday, Friday, not a Friday, Saturday set of matches. So let's talk first Southern Utah. What do you know about them here early in the week?
They've got two key players for them, and both of them are their pin hitters. And we're watching film on those guys. They've had a great preseason so far. They've done a lot of really good things. They've had some good wins, and so we're taking every team seriously, and we're approaching it with the mindset of that we have to do the things that we have to do on our side of the court to be successful. Yet we have to be able to slow down some of their key performers. I think they're doing a really great job right now with their left sides, scoring a lot of points, and their blocking is very big. So we're definitely working on our offense there, which I think is one of our strengths to be able to help us put us in a better position.
University of Idaho, you played in their tournament earlier this year. You didn't play them at the tournament, but it's a team I'm sure you've seen at least a little bit of going into the match on Friday.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with Idaho and their style of offense. They like to run a very, very fast commit style offense. You have to give that a lot of respect, because that's a lot of time to put into an offense to train. It's a very high risk, high reward type of offense that they run. If they execute it well, they're going to beat a lot of really good teams. But then if they're not passing well, it definitely becomes a risk for them. So it's a huge risk reward deal. We're definitely putting a game plan on for those guys. But they're going to be a very tough team, and they're definitely well coached.
This weekend, then on Saturday, the 2001 and 2002 volleyball teams go into the Hall of Fame, and your assistant coach, Janelle Allen, now also goes in. What does that do for the players on this year's team? They weren't obviously around in 01 and 02, and they didn't see Coach Allen play necessarily when she was on the court, but is that a feeling of pride for them that their coach and a previous team goes into the Hall of Fame, even though they really didn't see any of those people play?
We don't really talk about the history a whole lot, with this group, because every year is a new life. Every year is a new season. We certainly talk about the history in terms of where we want to get back to, and we also recruit to that as well. And I think for Janelle, this team really embraces Janelle, and she does such a tremendous job behind the scenes that a lot of people may not notice on the little things that she does. So they're going to fight for her. They're gonna play for her, and I think that sometimes she gets on the court and plays with us, and they definitely see the style of what she did to be very successful. And I think that's a really special thing for our players to be able to see a coaching staff giving back to the program in a different capacity now. And I think it's a really special thing that we can be able to celebrate her success, through those years, to be able to celebrate that this weekend for her. And I think our team's going to embrace that.
Thursday night, Southern Utah. Friday night, University of Idaho on Reese Court. Coach, thanks for the time. Good luck this week.
Thank you.
You betcha. That's Coach Michael King, and our podcast and videocast here on GoEags.com, brought to you by Cheney Federal Credit Union.